Hey everybody, Nick here, and tonight I wanted to do, first off, a quick collection update, and then an Ask the Nick live sort of video. I figured I'd start off just by showing people what's stuck around for the last little while and what sits in my bedside drawer. This is where I keep everything, at least when everything's out of the rotation, not in safe and whatnot. And so this is kind of my immediate, when I talk about something being in my personal collection, this is where I live. And so I just lifted the foam insert. This is just some Kaizen foam, 1.5 inch thick. Is it 1.5 inch? Maybe it's 2. I forget. Yeah, it's 2. Whatever. But a couple inch thick Kaizen foam that I cut and used, and now I have this nice little place to store all of my knives there. And so inside this are the knives that I would, regularly carry if I wasn't reviewing something else. So, first off, we'll just kind of go through them one by one. Of course, the Graham Razel. This guy is always sticking around, I think. This is one of those knives that, if I am doing something a little bit more beatery, if I'm doing home improvement stuff, this is usually what comes with me. It's also a pretty good outdoorsy sort of knife, so that one lands with me. I still love this clip so damn much every time I carry the knife. It is absolutely big and heavy, though. In this slot here, this is where the Brad Southern Mini Tolk lives. It is, however, not with me at the moment. It has taken a small travel back to Brad to address a little hiccup, but not a big deal, and should get it back sometime later this week. But it has absolutely got a home right in there. It just doesn't happen to be there at the moment. Next off, of course, is the Spyderco Sleesh Bowie, because this is such a damn good knife that... yeah, not for sale, guys. This is, like I've said this many times, this could be the knife I own. If I only needed one, I think this could do it. Well, I do only need one, let's be real here, but if I could only have one, that might be a good choice. Right here are the Spyderco Delica and Endura in the Packer wood scales. Now, the Endura being in here, that's probably not the long term. Something is going to come around and knock this out of place as a big, huge slicer. I like this knife a lot. I think it's great, but the thing is, so seldom do I need a 4-inch knife. Like if I'm doing major, deep, thick foam slicing, maybe that'll come with me. But the Delica, however, has absolutely won my heart. And on days when I'm going to carry a Delica, it's going to be this one generally over this one. I got a review of both of those coming. But either way, for the moment, this is in here, but that may change as something else kicks it out of the place. Right here, Chris Reeve tie lock. This is a knife that I don't carry nearly as often as I should, but it is so damn good for what I do. And I have a Shabazz clip on here that I sanded down. It's just absolutely a great choice for everyday carry. This is something I mourn regularly that I can't recommend it to more people. Booze Blade Smoke lives in the back here. This is one hell of a knife, a real joy to carry as well. It's just great in a bunch of ways. My full review is up, but it is unquestionably a gem, and it is so damned easy to carry because it is so... there's no pocket pecker or anything on it, and it is just so skinny. This just disappears in the pocket, which is pretty excellent. So that's good. Somebody's asking what happened to the clip on the tie lock. I don't like the Hawk clip generally, the active articulated one. It's better on the Hawk Dauntless that recently released, but for me, the Shabazz clip is just a better clip, so I switched that in there. People are asking me if I can zoom out at that here. Let's give it a shot. Good idea. Sorry, it's going to jerk around a little bit because my tripod is hashtag not a brilliant tripod. It's probably not going to trend, but hey, whatever. So anyways, that's why the tie lock clip is on there. So the Booze Blade Smoke lives in here as well as this little guy. This is a GEC 99. This is my sort of dressiest of knives, if you will. And it is indeed a pretty dressy knife. It has, actual, wood to it. And this is customized. It has an easy open notch cut by Toad Sticker, who was a YouTuber and has closed his channel since, but great guy on the whole. But that lives under here. This is my one real traditional knife. So that lives here under the booze. And then over here, I have, of course, the Spyderco Roadie. It's just a great little choice, and this is so often my post office knife, as I've described. If I know I'm going to pick something up that I want to carry that day, I'll throw the Roadie in the pocket, because this is always enough to get the package open. The passage open makes it sound like I'm slashing through freaking webbing to get the Shelob's lair or something. This right here is my flashlight of choice, the EGTAC D25A. the AA version. This is the 2017 model. It's not really any different than the previous models. It's just, you know, it's a little more updated, and I wanted a second one. Underneath here, Leatherman Squirt. No problem. And then, of course, over here, Grimsmo Rask and the Grimsmo Norseman. So the Norseman and I, we haven't been spending as much time together lately because the Rask has honestly grown on me a lot. I love the Rask a lot. I love the Norseman a lot. And every time I think to myself, and I have an occasion thought, you know, maybe I should sell the Norseman. Something like that. But then I take it out and I handle it and I fall back in love. I remember why I like this knife so damn much. So this is probably as close to a safe queen as I have now. And still, it does get carried. I'll throw it in the pocket every so often, but it's just a little big for me, for my general life and usage. But it lives there, and it lives there with the Rask. And the Rask is, frankly, if I'm going to carry a Grimsmo, this is a little bit more practical for my everyday life, and is just as nice in so many ways. So I like both of these very much, but although in my Rask review I'd originally said, you know, oh, well, if you're just going to get one, you should get the Norseman. If you're a collector, my answer remains the same, but if you are an everyday carrier and a user, I think the Rask is going to be a more practical choice. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Grimsmos are up to next. I think that's going to be very interesting. And so these are my collection, so to speak. In terms of watches, although right now I have an Omega Speedmaster on loan for review. Thank you very much to my buddy Jim. My other watches, I have, of course, the Planet Ocean here. This is a watch that I have fallen head over heels in love with. I think it's going to stick around for a good long while. The only real issue with it is that it is so damned expensive. I would like this watch a lot more if it cost a lot less money. And so at some level I look at this and think, oh man, that could be a whole bunch of other stuff. But at another level, it is so damned excellent that I can't have any objections to it. The accuracy is still insane. I like it a lot. I've got this little guy, the Casio Pro Trek. I have this little Citizen here, which is a great travel piece as well as an absolute beta sort of thing. And then I do have hold on, grab it real quick. Come on, you little bugger. I do still have my my Omega Aquaterra Seamaster guy here as a dressier option for dressier days. I like it a lot. It's very expensive, and at some level I'd rather have the cash, but it is what it is. And frankly, I've not found anything I find more attractive as a dressier watch that I'm not going to have to pay millions of dollars for. So that's kind of important there. The North Arm Skaha, somebody's asking, I have a secondary kind of a drawer of things that I'll carry a little bit less frequently that has a lot of stuff that I keep around for review, and that's where the Skaha is living at the moment. And here it is over here. Here it is over here. And so it's at hand, and I actually have carried it on occasion. It's a great knife still, and it's still one I highly recommend. I'm actually planning to pick up another one of these days because they've made a couple of really nice improvements to it, and I have a family member who I think would really enjoy this knife. And so, I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and probably upgrade to the new one and give them this. And so it's around, but it's probably not one of the knives that gets carried quite as often for me, because on a day, let's be real here, on a day that I can, guiltlessly, if you will, carry something that I'm not meant to review, I tend to go from this collection rather than over from here. Other knives in this area, oh, what the heck, let's pull it out here. Make sure there's nothing in here I can't show you. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one out of there. These are the knives that I grab regularly for review. And so here we go. And there are also a couple of watches. Right here I've got the Casio F108, Casio F91W. And then in here are some other ones that it's the top drawer and it sits right next to my table there. I've got a Cold Steel Code 4. In here, which is great to show off the Triad Lock. It is a fine knife in its own respect. I have a Spyderco Dragonfly in ZDP. This is a great travel knife, and this is absolutely something I would throw in my pocket if I'm going, for instance, overseas or something. Kershaw Dividend Still an incredible shining freaking gem. These now are at M390. They're making them at a great price. That blew me away. And the Kershaw Link, which I think they're also doing M390 sprints on. Both of these are incredible knives, and both are just, yeah, these are knives that I'm going to be recommending pretty regularly. Skaha, this is a G10 Dragonfly that I actually do need to review. Andam says his cat says hi. I'm going to go ahead and say hi to that guy's cat. Open L, of course, the one of the least expensive integral knives on the market, and a very nice little choice here. If you ever wondered whether or not I have any taste, I still have this guy. This was sent to me by my buddy Spade Knife Works. It is just so awful that I cannot comprehend it, really. I like every so often, if I feel like the world is a just place with reasonable life, this might be where I go. But to just feel like, okay, never mind, the world doesn't make any sense again. And so that's great. That stays there. Of course, we have the poop knife. Hold on just a second here. My heat's coming on. Let me shut that down right quick, because you all don't need to hear the high or low frequency hum sort of thing. The poop knife, this is a Ferrum Forge Gent prototype. I've got this around. It's a prototype. I can't really do a review, but it's in here. Speaking of prototypes, this is the Booze Blade Smoke prototype. I've still got it. It's a knife with a very neat story for me. This is the first of my stealth review knives that has gone to market, and so looking at the two just makes me a little happy. Of course, one of the higher quality pieces in my collection, this is the Ozark Trail Tan Flipper with a very nice edge that I've put on there. This is a Spyderco Man Bug in Hap 40 steel. Thank you very much to my buddy Sid, which is great. Oh, hey, there's Trevi. So, while Trevi is up here, that's 7 Ready Knife Reviews, I figure I'll show off one other thing that is unrelated to this. Check this out. It's a brand new acquisition. This is a Hinderer slip joint. That's right, Nick Shabazz bought an XM18. But more specifically, it's the XM18 slip joint. There is a little disc that you can slip onto there. To me, it was not super incredible. Hey, Sid. It's not super incredible with the disc on there because it's not super great for opening the knife with my particular hands. But without the disc on here, this is actually pretty compelling. And so the reason that I mentioned to Trevi that I'm doing that while he's in here is that after I'm finished with this, he's going to pick one up, or I'm going to send it his way. And so that's going to be, that's pretty interesting. Kind of a neat little knife. I love the fact that Hinderer is making it. The other thing that I absolutely love, take a look at that. If you look just right inside the pivot here, you see glintings of beautiful, beautiful things. Any Hinderer fans? That's a fuss for bronze washes. Oh, yeah. That's right. Hinderer knives, phosphor, bronze washes. They're learning, baby. I'm super excited about that, honestly. I think that's a very, very nice little addition, and I'm absolutely, if nothing else, that makes me joyful about this freaking knife. So, anyways, that's the Hinderer XM18 slip joint. Very interesting little piece, 100%. Going back through here, oh, this little beauty was sent to me by a viewer. Oh, yeah. He's Canadian. I don't know quite what he meant by it, but it's a thing. This right here is a credit card companion tool logic. This is probably, in terms of absolute length, one of the knives I've owned longest. I got this as a very young kid. Yeah, I don't even know what to do with this. Maybe in 2022 I'll do something, but for the moment, oy, oy, oy. This is a credit card companion kit, which is just a joy. Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. This little gem was picked up for me by my dearest of mothers in Newport, Rhode Island, in case you can't tell that. It has a 150% lockup or so. Incredible blade play. This is really the Z Hunter of the tourist industry right here. Which is pretty impressive. This is a very interesting little switchblade here. Check this out. You know, I should probably review this before I go bald, actually. I think that would be a good idea. Note that it is a non-locking automatic knife, which is pretty impressive. But, yeah, and it's not all that automatic anyways. So that, whoa there. Come on. There you go. Let's put that away there. This is, of course, the Zombie Nick. Every so often, somebody discovers this knife online and sends it to me like, oh, my God, Nick, they're taking your thing. But the thing is, this brand predated me. I didn't find out about it until later on. And in fact, a viewer of mine, a joy of a human being, actually had this engraved with my name on it. So this is the Zombie Nick Shabazz. Actually, no, I do own another traditional knife, I suppose. But oh boy, is that something there. And then this is a spare Z Hunter. This is the second Z Hunter I received. My buddy Jim found one at a gas station out near where he lives and sent it along. So anyways, these are those are the knives I keep right by me for review. Note that they are by and large relatively inexpensive. For me, it's very hard to keep something that's very expensive unless it is also very excellent. And so, you know, that's a big force here. You know, for instance, what else? The Hawk Dauntless is a good example of this. The Shirogorov Neon. These are very, very, very good knives, but I don't have all the money in the world. And so as a result, money that's spent tied up in one knife is something that I couldn't spend on something else. A couple of people are asking about some other stalwarts. Now, those are all knives that I kind of keep nearby for review. At the very top of my table here, I have a small collection that will be familiar to all of you. These are the knives that I use for size comparison and very often make other direct comparisons too. Spyderco PM2, ZT, 0452CF. This right here is a Benchmade 940-2, which is donated by a viewer of mine. It's nice to have a 940 around. This is the steel wheel cut jack, which I did not expect to make it into this lineup here, but it kind of has, because it's such a good, inexpensive flipper. In some ways, it's the Flippin' Rat one, and the Flippin' Rat 2, the smaller cut jack, should arrive tomorrow. Ontario, Rat number 2. And Rat number 1, as you guys have seen a bazillion times. And then last, but absolutely least by a mile, is the Z Hunter here. And this is the original Z Hunter without the stop pin, with the incredible action. The Z Hunter. The Z Hunter. Oh, what a joy the Z Hunter is. But anyways, so that is the that is kind of the stuff I have around for review right quickly. Oh, and there are also some pens that I can show off here, as I'm showing off my collection here. This is a gift from my buddy Robo Jim. Thank you, Robo Jim. Needs to be reviewed, but this right here, of course, the Pakajada. This is a Kaweco Lilliput Fire Blue. This pen is stainless steel. I reviewed, when I took it out of the freaking box, I made this big deal. Well, it feels awfully heavy for titanium. That's because it's not freaking titanium. In fact, I had a very nice email from the Kaweco people, their corporate headquarters, the next day, saying, hey, we saw your video. That pen is made of steel. Like, yeah, I'm an idiot. That's for sure. So, yeah, that was, but it's made of steel, but it's a nice pen. And then finally, I've got this little guy. This, I'm going to be pulling a review up of one of these days here. This is the Tie Scribe Bolt, which is my very favorite bolt action pen in terms of action. Very, very nice little pen. And so this guy actually gets a fair amount of pocket time as well. So, anyways, those are the pens that I have around on a regular basis. And then I've got other stuff for review here and there, but, let's see, am I putting everything back away where it needs to go? Let's go on ahead and open things up for questions here. What questions do you all have? Yeah, throw it out there. Okay, let's see here. What torque set have I used? So I have a video that is Nick's Knife Disassembly Toolkit that has actually a nice little... Here, let me see if I can do this. If I can pull this off, it'll be great. Right next to my tripod here. Yeah, it's got... Okay. Try not to destroy everything here. There we go. Right next to the tripod here is my Knife Disassembly Toolkit here. And this actually has everything that I use on a regular basis. I have a video that has links to a lot of this stuff online, but, wait, there's nothing problematic on here? No. Okay, good. there are prototypes around that I can't show off on camera, so I just wanted to make sure one wasn't sitting on things. But anyways, look, this is everything that I use for disassemblies here. Ranging from watch spring bar tools, which are really handy, to nails, sewing needles, a security bit in case I need to deal with a urinal and or a Medford. These are my little patches that I use, my medium strength Loctite on a stick, a bunch of freaking Q-tips everywhere, which are useful, Leatherman Wave, which is just a great tool. This is a second set of Weehaw drivers that I'll occasionally have to break out, some tweezers. Back here, a watch spring bar tool that's all fancy like, a second holder for things, nano grease, frog lube. These pens contain some nano oil. It's a newer product that they've been offering. This is the Citadel Black knife oil. A flashlight that I'll use to shed some light on the subject occasionally. Secondary screw tool here, liquid Loctite. Nano in the 85, 10, and 5 weights. This is the pen I use to sign Z-Hunters for patrons. And then some Dewa Real Oil, which I do keep around because it is also a very good lubricant. And some frog lube in a tube. Not a tube, a frog lube in a tube sounds way better. In a little bottle kind of thing. So anyways, that's the disassembly toolkit. Oh, and there's some sandpaper over here as well. So, yeah, that's a quick little overview there. But like I said, don't destroy everything, please. Like I said, I have a video that describes all that with links to buy a bunch of stuff anyways, so that's very, very good. Let's see here. Other questions. Do I still have the Spyderco Shaman? Yes, I do. In fact, I just filmed the disassembly video tonight, which is great. Marcos128 is very, very concerned about what happened to my ZT562ZF. Unfortunately, Marco, that is old news. That knife was sold probably a year ago. In favor of this guy. I just found myself in a situation where any day that I would carry the 562, I would carry this guy instead. So, although it's an incredible knife, a shining gem, and absolutely something you should consider, for me at least, it never replaced the Graham, and that's kind of what something would have to do to be a beefy choice. Noob question asks, what uses do tactical pens have aside from self-defense? That's a great question. The number one use of a tactical pen, like, okay, right here, I have, come here, this little guy right here. This is the Hinderer Investigator tactical pen. The absolute number one most effective use of a tactical pen is writing stuff down. Sorry, that's being facetious, but the thing is, the tactical pen thing drives me a little crazy because, yeah, sure, you can poke somebody with a pen, but why bother? There are so many better tools for that I think that tactical there is being a marketing term more than anything. And so this is a $9 pen. You can poke somebody with it very effectively if you need to poke somebody with a pen. And if you need to poke people with pens, by the way, reevaluate some life choices. But I just don't feel like this is I don't feel like the tactical pen thing is as much of a legit thing as it is a marketing thing. Anthem is asking about pens and pencils I prefer for drawing. For me, that is a lead holder. I need to show this off one of these days, but lead holders is spectacular. I need to do a review of this. It's a very, very thick mechanical pencil where you sharpen the graphite itself. That's an incredible stuff. Absolutely a big fan of that. So let's see here. I gotta ban somebody real quick. Just a second. Adios. Alrighty, so yeah, lead holders are a beautiful thing, and I'm going to do one of those one of these days here. Let's see here, hey, Dr. Frunky. Dr. Frunky is also a fan of the Spyderco Shaman. He's got a disassembly video if you need to see one right now, because mine will go live with the review in a little while there. Let's see here. Gregory Poe is asking if I have a snafu. I assume he's meaning the Peter Rizzenti snafu. Although I have plenty of other snafus in my life, they're not that interesting for you. Sorry, water. But anyways, no, I don't. I don't have any Rizzenti customs. They're great knives, 100%, but they're not, they're just a little pricey for me. I'm not huge on customs. So there you go. Let's see here. The Torch Lab boss. Yeah, Tony at Everyday Commentary is talking about that light. as being the second coming, basically. I'm not sure what the second coming is of, but it's certainly that. And I'm really interested in it. Unfortunately, you can't freaking buy them, and so, yeah, I'm kind of high and dry there. But, I think it's going to be a fine light as soon as somebody can freaking get one, and I absolutely want to review it. Should see if I can con him into sending his off my way. Yeah, it's a very interesting light, and if he speaks so highly of it as a flashlight geek, it could probably absolutely replace this guy. The question, though, for me, with any kind of high-end flashlight is going to be the curve of diminishing returns. This is an incredible, this is just an incredible freaking light, and it's like $70. Anything that's going to be $400 or $500 needs to be really, really better than this in order to justify that price point. And for me, you're going to struggle. But they may succeed. I hope they do. That'd be cool. So, yeah, anyways, that's where I land. Hey, everybody. A bunch of people bragging about their bowel movements, which is pretty excellent. What is my favorite kind of apple? Is this going to end with a how about them apples joke? I don't know, but I'm willing to roll with it. For me, the answer to that is Honeycrisp, 100%. I believe that Honeycrisps, at least, you know, in my limited Apple experience, is going to be that. That or the other option, the other answer to that is the apples that were made in maybe the early 2000s, before Apple computers started really having trouble. They just put a lot more effort into software and design there. And so that's probably my other favorite Apple. I would say right, kind of in that generation right before the Retina displays, that's when they were really on top of their game. But that's not exactly what you were talking about there. Let's see here. Greyholm, do I ever go camping? What knife would I take? I haven't gone camping in many, many years. It's kind of one of those things that I'd like to do more of, but unfortunately, it's just time. I don't have time. I really, truly, and genuinely do not. I very rarely get vacation, and during the weekends, very often I'm working on stuff for work, or I'm working on the channel. I mean, seriously, just to give you a sense of things, over this weekend here, I spent, let's see, yesterday, a good portion of my yesterday and my Saturday was spent filming Knife Gripes for the Knife Gripes with Nick Shabazz series. Those may seem like they are, in fact, just like 3 or 4 minute things, but usually there is someplace between 1 and 2 hours of writing going into them. And so there's a lot of time there. Then on top of that, I tried to get some other reviews filmed, which writing a review takes time. And even this afternoon and evening has been spent entirely doing things like sending gear out to Patreon patrons who've bought it. Thank you very much to my patrons, of course. I just did and filmed a disassembly of this little guy. This is the Benchmade Phaeton, which is now finally legal in Michigan, although not sure why I care. And so, you know, things like that. And so doing the channel really does eat a lot of time. And usually that time is the weekends, or maybe the late evenings or early mornings before and after work. And so, it's great. It's a fun hobby. It's something that brings me a lot of joy. But at the same time, I really, people ask me, like, Nick, you into video games? I wish I had time to be into video games. I'm just kind of in that point where I need to be picking my battles. And so there you go. Let's see here. A bunch of people are talking about Honeycrisps. Let's see here. So much time and Nick does so much. I guess you could say I'm the hardest working man in Shabazzness. Yeah, okay. I could say that. I'm probably not. There's probably some other guy with the last name is Shabazz who's just really rocking it. Oh, yeah, I think I just killed YouTube with that one. Okay. I wish I could be showing you the comment stream. It's just people telling me to get out of my own live stream. It's pretty excellent. And no, that whole rant wasn't a build-up to that pun. It just happened to be there, so I grabbed it. A bunch of booing. Oy. Okay, Leighton Pomerleau is really interested in the Benchmade Crooked River. So I just finished my Crooked River review this past week, and it's a nice enough knife. It's just too big for me, and it felt very unwieldy. Even relative to other huge freaking knives, like, for instance, your ZT-452 or your Grimsmo Norseman. To me, at least, the Crooked River just felt very like it was weird in the hand. It was not like it wasn't balanced right. It was just like all the weight was in the center. It was just a really weird knife for me. So very, very specifically, I didn't like that knife at all. But I think that somebody who has bigger hands may enjoy it. So, it's not a knife I don't recommend, but it's also not one I'm going to send people to on a regular basis, and that just may be my hand. So, yeah, that's kind of... The Mighty Meaty says he prefers the Honest River. Nice. Let's see here. Extremely mediocre gamer. Oh, don't be so hard on yourself. Ask, can you actually use the thumb studs on the Grimsmo Norseman? Hey, it's Epic Snuggle Bunny. How's it going, Snuggly? Yeah, absolutely. Just pop that open. Hey, cool. Always nice to see. We got like half the YouTube review in place in here. We got Trevi, we've got the Epic Snuggle Bunny, Dr. Frunky. Good Lord. Just get Skelton in here and call it a freaking night. But anyways, so that's it's a great question, but it's absolutely workable. Slide Tech asked if I got it on the Brown Servo. No, not really. It's a very custom knife, and for some reason the design just didn't talk to me. I'm not saying it's a bad knife. I'm not saying it just. If I'm going to spend that kind of money on a knife, especially something that I might be buying for myself, I want it to just like make my freaking heart sing. And that one was not, coaxing any Puccini out of my heart there, being an opera composer and whatnot. So anyways, there you go. So I didn't get in on that, but, a lot of people did. Snuggly's got one. Dr. Frunky's got one. A bunch of people have got that. So, and also, what's the point at that point? Everybody said something about it. Speaking of everybody saying things about it, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to review this guy. This is the Kershaw Link. And so what I think I'm going to do is, because everybody and their mother has reviewed a Kershaw Link, so I'm going to find my own little spin, and I think it's going to be pretty entertaining. So that's good. Looking forward to that. Other good questions here. Somebody was asking me about the Wee Knives Balanoptera. Look, it's a wee knife with a set of Torx screws, which at some level means it's going to be great. And I think it's going to, especially if that grind is as thin as it looks like it might be, it's going to be really strong competition for a bunch of people. And, wee knives without the bad screws, oh man, they do good work. But at the same time, it's really, really heavily recurved. I don't see it being in my life particularly, but it could be a nice knife. Something to check out there. Bowface asks, what's it like being a mobster? I don't know. If you'd like an answer to that question, maybe you might consider watching, let's see here. Eastern Promises is a very nice, it's the Russian mob, but it works. Mind you, that is a very, very not safe for work sort of R-rated, may just be more than R-rated. But that's a good one. The Godfather series, of course. I'm a big fan of The Sopranos and The Wire, although that doesn't get so much into the mob as it gets into other elements of organized crime. But those are my recommendations for if you want to figure out how to, what it's like to be a mobster. But yeah, I don't have a damn clue because I am boring as heck. So, yeah, anyways, Eastern Promises, people are talking about the knife fight. Oy, oy, oy. Yeah, that movie's pretty hardcore. So, anyways, what do I think about Perlon straps? Sir Galoth is asking. So, a Perlon strap is kind of like a NATO strap, except that it's made from a different material. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm an idiot. What I just said is a Perlon strap is like a NATO strap with a different material, but the thing is, every strap is like a NATO strap except with a different material. Like that, they're all watch straps. Anyways, I guess NATO's go around the back. But anyways, Perlon is using some kind of a mesh webbing thing. I have bought one Perlon web strap. I put it on my wrist on a watch and immediately put it right back in the box and said, no, this is terrible. I'm told that I have bought a bad Perlon strap there, and so I may try it again in the future. But to me at least, I don't know. I don't really have I don't have a nice, this guy might be a little bit heavy for Perlon, and this is generally my strap host. So, that's where I go on that. Oy, 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 oy. Trevi is asking me about Aperian Blade Works, which is a company, a jackass, I suppose, who made a knife that is sort of the Z Hunter of the custom market based on looks, and it's apparently just awful. There's a bunch of drama in the Knife Gods Facebook group. It's on Instagram. Skelton has called him out. It's a really, the reason I even bring it up is because I've seen some of the things that this guy said to the customer and then about the customer, and it's deeply ugly. And so, this is one of those situations where it's like, this is why custom knives can't have nice things. I haven't handled the knife. Maybe he's getting a bad rap or something like that, but you can't treat your customers like this. It's absolutely awful to see. And so I hope that this buyer gets made whole. But in the meantime, this is why it's important to look up the people that you're going to buy something from. Look up these custom makers, see what's going on there, because that's really important. So that whole situation is just deeply ugly, and I'm really unimpressed with how the maker's handling it. And I mean, let's be real here. Looking at that knife, holy crap. It looks like he's trying to give some of my crappy knife of the months a run for the money. So, yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Have I ever watched Perfect Blue? Nope, sorry about that. What's the matter with people? Ask Hoover45. Now, Hoover, I'm assuming that is a rhetorical question, and that it's a perfectly valid rhetorical question. But I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at it. What is wrong with people? People suffer. And people are suffering all over the world. It's just a simple fact of the matter. We always have this gulf between what we think the world should be and what it actually is. Suffering is the gap between your expectations and the reality. And the problem is we are not accustomed to suffering. We don't enjoy it. It's something that we are constantly trying to avoid. And as a result, when somebody is suffering, they are willing to make other people suffer just so that they avoid it. And as a result, I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are really crappy to other people. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of suffering in general, and as a result, I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of what we do to try and avoid it. I mean, some people try and help other people with their burdens. That's a beautiful thing. But some people just decide, you know what, my life sucks. I'm going to make his life suck, so maybe my life will suck a little bit less. Maybe it's because of material issues. Maybe it's just because of emotional issues. I am not content with who I am inside, so you know what? I'm going to sell you a crappy knife, or something like that. There are worse things you can do to a person, obviously. But yeah, that's my take on what's wrong with people, is that we are all suffering, and we are all not very productive and skillful in how we manage that suffering. But then again, what the heck do I know? I'm just some random jackass. I review things like knives and watches and pens and things like that, rather than the human nature. But yeah, that's a great question there. Let's see here. What largest Spyderco would I recommend if carryability were not a concern? That's a good one. What is it, the Don Dow, that brand new huge fixed blade? I don't know. I mean, largest Spyderco's... Honestly, I really think that in Spyderco's world, the PM2 is a great place to start and stop. The police is decent enough. The Endura is also a pretty good choice. The military's fine as a knife, not as a concept, although, that can reach back into the what's wrong with people thing when it's used improperly. Anyways, moving along. Military as a pocket knife is fine. It could use an update, certainly. But yeah, that's kind of where I would go with you there. Let's see here. Deep Blue watches, I've seen them, I've heard of them, I haven't played with them much. There are so many smaller brands out there that it's really hard, especially when they each want, $600, $700, $800 a pop to try it out even, and you take a huge bath, because if you buy it retail, you're going to get your, face eaten off. When you try and turn around and sell it, watches are really, really tough. I mean, seriously, you buy, for instance, a higher-end watch like your Omega here, you take it off the lot. If you sell it the very next day in the package without the plastic on it, you're losing $2,000. That's an ugly fact of life. And so watches are really hard as a reviewer to do. Because you take a lot of baths very, very quickly, and there's a lot of money that gets tied up in them. So even the Deep Blues are a little bit of a problem. What knife did I take to the Upper Peninsula? This little guy right here. This is the Spyderco Wood Delica. I figured, you know what, this is a great place to try it out. So there you go. What size shoe do I wear? That's vaguely creepy. 10.5. There you go. Hope that was helpful to you. I hope he's not building a voodoo doll or something. That'd be creepy. Yeah. Unless he's giving that voodoo doll money and therefore more comes to me, then that can work there. But anyways, moving along. Oh, good God, that got a lot of... people are asking me my thoughts on anime, meaning Japanese animation style stuff. It can be great. I don't have a great deal of familiarity with it. I've seen some of it that I've absolutely loved in the past. The original Death Note series was just freaking on point. A-okay, excellent. But it's not something I've spent a whole lot of time with. I have friends who are very deeply into it, know a great deal about it, but, for me, it's just, I haven't gone there. I'm sure I could enjoy a great deal more of it, but like I said, I don't have the familiarity. But solid. It's a good genre. Some good music, too. Do wish I spoke Japanese. That'd make it easier. So, yeah. Let's see here. Have I tried the Browse T4 in common? No, I haven't. I haven't. The only Browse I've ever looked at is the Browse Sniper. In a lot of ways, his designs don't appeal to me particularly, and so I haven't spent much time there. But, always welcome to check it out. The Frankie and the Bird have spent a lot more time on Browse stuff, so it's worth checking out. Let's see here. I have no idea what SAO is, but some guy thinks it's trash. I probably disagree. Oh, the TAC Force of Anime. Okay, nice. Yeah, I have no idea what that is, but that's okay. Do I use my knives at a restaurant? Very rarely. I will, if I'm given, for instance, a burger to cut and I don't have a knife to do it, I will oftentimes, especially if I'm carrying something long and slicey like this guy, which is a great little steak knife. If I ate steak, this would be a solid choice. But very rarely do I tend to, because, I've been carrying it, I've been using it, and so if I've got, a bunch of freaking tape residue all over it, do I really want to be suffusing my meal with tape residue? Yeah, it's a veggie burger, but it still needs to be cut. That was the Booze Blade Smoke, by the way. Best folding knife for kitchen work is a fixed blade knife. Let's be real here. A lot of people have made, like the Spidey Chef, the KUF by Liang Ma. A bunch of people have made folding kitchen knives, but look, just use a freaking kitchen knife. Get a knife roll or something. But that's just me. Nothing tastes quite like nano oil. Nano oil is actually, believe it or not, the guy swears to me it is food safe, which is interesting. Then again, a lot of people say it's mostly mineral oil, which, yeah, that's food safe. So I don't know, but I haven't really done much taste reviewing for it. Let's see here. I have not handled Mech Army flashlights. Thoughts on the KUF? That's going to be a great knife as soon as they deal with the fact that the edge of the blade is just really close to the back here. I think they're going to fix that in a future run, but a review is coming down the road one of these days. But yeah. Let's see here. Missionary or doggy? Well, the thing is, I have never been I've never been in a situation where missionaries have really approached me. Well, I did go to Salt Lake that one time, but still. But I really do like dogs. I think dogs have a great deal of personality, and so a really great dog is truly man's best friend. So I suppose at that level, I think I prefer dogs. That's a great question, though. Yeah. And, missionaries just aren't that great at playing fetch, I feel like. You can throw a tennis ball with a missionary right there, and they're just going to stand there. And then they're going to try and sell you some religion or another. So I'm probably going to go with the dogs again. Unless you're not a big fan of fetch. So, oh, good Lord. Oh, the comments are just, I can't even right now. Oh, boy, can I not even. Let's see here. What knife would I actually enjoy having serrations on instead of a fully smooth blade? There are only two things that come to mind for that. Well, three, I suppose. One is a bread knife for actually using in the kitchen because bread... you can use a very sharp regular knife to cut bread. It works beautifully. But I find that serrated knives tend to work a little bit better for bread. Next thing is knives in H1 steel. It's a super stainless sort of thing. There is the Spyderco Salt lineup. There, the H1 steel really does work better in a serrated edge because it dulls pretty rapidly. And so it's nice to have the ability to just tear, even if you can't cut effectively, which is good. And then, what was the third one? Oh, anything, or if I was doing a lot of rope cutting, I think that's a great situation for a serrated knife. So something like the Spyderco Tusk or something like that that's really meant for sailing and whatnot. Not that I'm a sailor. Oh, good God, am I not a sailor? So, yeah. That's on a rescue knife. I can see some reason for that as well. But, yeah. Comments on Nick Onion. I have Nick Onion. Oh, he's talking about Ken Onion. Yeah, Ken Onion. This guy's saying he's put out a lot of garbage. Honestly, I don't see it. I mean, he's done some collaborations with lower-end brands that have turned into lower-end knives. The home front is an interesting design, and in a lot of ways, I like the look of it. I wish it had been constructed a little bit more nicely, but I think it's not a terrible knife. And Ken Onion, as a custom designer, he has forgotten more about custom knife making than I will ever know. So I can't really diss on him too hard. Well, he's the guy who coined the term mid-tech, which actually I should hold against him, because that term has been terribly used and abused. But then again, whatever. You can't blame Oppenheimer for Hiroshima and whatnot. Oh my God, did I just compare the use of the term mid-tech to the detonation of an atomic bomb? Guys, I need perspective. Oh God, do I need perspective. Anyways, moving right on along there. Yeah, Ken Onion, however, I will say that the knife community does need to go in and buy Ken Onion some kind of a straight edge, because holy crap, man. I don't know that I have ever seen a knife of his with something entirely straight on it. I mean, God. Ay, ay, ay. So, yeah, I will start the GoFundMe for buy Ken Onion a straight piece of metal. But yeah. Anyways. People are asking me, Tupac or Biggie? That's a great question. For me, at least, I'm probably going to go Tupac. I'm not a huge enthusiast of either one, but I tend to prefer Tupac's music slightly over Biggie. But that said, it's all good. Let's see here. Good knife for self-defense. Oh, man, is that a rant for another day? I'm going to put it simply. A good knife for self-defense is the one that you pick out after many, many, many years and months and years of training with a knife for self-defense. The best knife for self-defense is the one that you are clearly trained with, that you have trained with for many years, and that you are very comfortable with using in that situation. Buying a knife for self-defense just with no other information, not a great plan. Self-defense is something you need to take very seriously, and knives are not talismans that will keep you safe. My knives are very, very good at attacking envelopes and packages and apples and things like that. But yeah, so for me, what is the best knife for self-defense? If you are capable of using a knife for self-defense and you've had enough training, guess what? You're going to know. So there are a lot of really good options out there. I am not even going to go ahead and engage with the rest of the... actually, no. That's a much better answer, and I think I've used this before. The very best knife for self-defense is a pair of running shoes. That's another way to put it. But they don't cut things very well. Trevi is asking me, Nick, have I ever been to Switzerland? No, I haven't. I like Switzerland a lot. They've got a lot of good stuff going for them. Particularly in the watchmaking department, they're doing pretty solid. And I got to say, the flag is absolutely a big plus. Because it looks like a big plus sign. Okay. Anyways, I'd love to make it to Switzerland one of these days, but I haven't yet. Actually, technically speaking, I've never made it to the continent of Europe except the airport in Amsterdam. So one of these days I'll do that. Again, the comment thread lights up with people telling me to just quit and whatnot, which is reasonable. Good response. Oh, man. What do I think is the best channel on YouTube? Oh, man. Well, I can rule this one out. What else? Oh. What is the very best channel on YouTube? You know, that's really hard to say because every channel has its ups and has its downs. I am a huge fan, so there is a channel called Tested that does a lot of stuff that's not that interesting, but one of the things they do have is Adam Savage, the guy from Mythbusters, the One Day Build series. Oh my God, is that good? Because it's just Adam Savage doing something vaguely crazy with tools and whatnot. I think that is very, very much... it's a very, very compelling series. And it's like a 45-minute show of Adam Savage making something excellent. There are some other good channels out there. Who else? It's so hard. I mean, and it depends on your interest too. If you like gaming, if you like speed runs, things like that, you are very much interested in. There are going to be some great channels for that, like Ryukar, Ryukahr is a great speedrunner guy. I love watching him just get his assets kicked by Mario or something like that. Silly thing. The Games Done Quick channel I love. Brian Kibler for Hearthstone, if that's your shtick, is great. Who else? I mean, in the knife world, there are a bunch of good channels I've talked about already. But I mean, yeah, there are so many great channels, it's really hard to say. And some of my favorite entertainment never made it onto YouTube, like Car Talk on NPR. If you never listened to it, do. It's absolutely 100%. If I can be a tenth as entertaining as those guys were, oh my God, yes. So yeah, it's great. Chris Tully is asking about the Rat Bastard Enigma, which is this little pocket tool here. I got a review of it coming up before too long here, but it's a very nice little tool. Very expensive, but it's very, very well done. So I like that very, very much. I sound like I could be an NPR host, maybe. Oh, I'd have to talk a little bit silently, like this. Anyways, it's beside the point. NPR. I don't know why it is that NPR people talk very quietly, but it seems to be a universal fact. I move halfway across the freaking country, and the local NPR people still talk way more quietly than they need to. I just don't know. Maybe if I talk like that, yeah, there we go. Now I can get a job with freaking NPR. Case freaking closed. Yeah, NPR's great, though. Terry Gross, absolutely freaking-tacular. Very good. You're watching me because of Car Talk on NPR. Aw, are you saying they went off the air and you needed something terrible? I'm getting a little sign from YouTube saying I have a very bad connection here. So actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and use this as an excuse to go ahead and end your suffering here. And I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I don't know what's going on with the connection here, but that's very unfortunate. And I hope you guys have had fun nonetheless. Thank you, everybody who stopped in. Thank you, everybody who, RIP NPR. Well, thank you very much for the donation. And yeah, hope this has been interesting. Have yourselves a great one. Sorry about the very bad connection here at the end there. And sorry about the puns. Bye, everybody.